Hey everyone, today we're driving out on this very long dirt road and we've reached the end of the line. The road is very flooded up here from Beavers. Now it just turns into an ATV trail. Right here's a little parking area where people park to bring their ATVs out. Right now I'm just backing up, turning us around, and we're going to drive through some puddles and some floods, some very rough road in this video on our way back. Just backing up really carefully. I have the trailer with some supplies, and it's nice that we have a spot to turn around. The trailer is light enough to detach and pick up the tongue if it's a flat area. If we had to absolutely turn it around, then there's enough room on almost all these roads to pass the trailer. Just drive over some bushes after turning the trailer around and recouple. Had to do that, I believe, 3 times now out on these dirt roads because you're not always lucky enough to get a big enough space to turn around like that. Drizzly out, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius right now. Today didn't get very warm, didn't get much warmer than that. Been a drizzly day. Not that bad out once your body's working. We took a bath out here today at a reservoir and just to clean up after not bathing for 4 days. Lots and lots of beavers on this road. This logging road hasn't been used in a bit. There's signs that it might be maintained. There's some beaver ponds that look like they've been recently drained. There's also a ton of beaver ponds that are still flooding the road, and you can tell they've been flooding it for years, to the point where the beavers weren't satisfied with the pond's depth, so they built a beaver dam along the road. So the pond is a couple feet above the road. There's leakage flooding the road. This puddle right here is actually pretty deep. Gotta take it a little slow. Yep, pretty good dip. Be slow for the trailer. There's a couple very good floods up here I want to show, and one really, really big flood up here soon. I'll sleep well tonight. Did a couple uncloggings, which drained my energy pretty quickly. Ooh, there's a little bridge here. I'm gonna get out and maybe go on a little walk. I'm just curious what it goes to. It doesn't say no trespassing. Maybe it's a little cabin. All right, I'm just gonna park in the road. We have been driving this for a couple of hours. It's a long, endless road like this, and that's the end right there. You can drive this thing for hours. There is one guy parked down there. I'm assuming he's on an ATV. This looks like something drives in here occasionally. Maybe it's someone's cabin. I don't know. But I'm curious. No sign saying you can't be here. Bunch of wood down there floating. A bunch of duckweed. Don't see any super fresh tracks. It looks like an old bridge there. They replaced it with a wooden one. Could be a cabin. A logger, someone's seasonal camp, who knows? But it didn't say we couldn't go down here. I'm not gonna walk more than a minute or something. Definitely don't want to take the truck down here. That bridge looks strong though, its structure. It's good that it's windy. Mosquitoes are really bad up north. Out here in the wilderness, there's so many beaver ponds, so much sitting water. They're crazy. You can see them, hundreds of them, on every window, and I'm not even exaggerating. There'll be swarms of thousands of them if you're in the right area out here, attracted by the CO, produced by the truck. If you're idling, there, thousands of them. It's scary getting out. If you crack the door, if you have to go outside to use the bathroom, you get back in, you gotta kill like 50 of them before you can sleep. Out here, if it's still, no wind, and it's quiet, you can hear a loud buzzing sound all night long because they can smell you inside the vehicle. All right, this is going for a while. It's sturdy enough, not too lumpy. I don't think I'd make the corner in here across the bridge with the trailer, and I'm definitely not bringing a trailer down here because there's absolutely no proof there's a spot to turn around. I might have to run back to the truck. I got a mosquito on me. Could get bad. Looks like we're approaching a mud hole. Yeah, this area often floods. The truck would make it through here. Don't want to have the extra drag of the trailer. Got some very fresh moose tracks. More fresh moose tracks. I'm not going to go anymore. Who knows? Who knows? This could literally be just an ATV trail. Who knows if there's anything down here? Might just be an ATV trail. Might just be a old logging road. Something's keeping it open. Something is interesting people down here. Maybe hunters use it in the winter. I don't know. Maybe it's a snowmobile trail. All right, let's get back to the truck. All right, everyone. Back to the truck. I had to run there. The mosquitoes weren't bad walking in, but as soon as I started slowing down, showing you that little mud hole, they started going after me. All right, so there's a few more things here. Probably, I think, less than 20 minutes up the road here. There's a nice open area. We're gonna pull over, camp for the night, get in the back of the truck, and do some editing, do some snacking. Brought a DVD player, watch some SpongeBob DVDs. So right here is a pretty flooded area. I can tell by the evidence it was much, gotta watch it, trailer. It was much more flooded at one point. The beavers are no longer here. The water is a little bit higher than it should be. Right here, there's a very deep ruts. We got to go really slow through this. Lots and lots of erosion right here from the beavers, blocking the culverts and having the water go up and over the road. To the left, there's a beaver dam running along the road because they wanted it higher. Actually, it looks like when the road started washing out, the beavers built a dam because it must have drained their pond pretty quickly. This culvert you see standing up here is something mangled that they removed with the excavator because when the water's that deep, it's so far underwater, they couldn't help but hit it with the excavator, so they just removed a section of it, and it's not clogged at all. Let me show you outside for a moment. All right, so here, that grass right there would have not grown in the water like that. This is more flooded than it was in the spring, but at one point it was very flooded. You see all the grass? This was all underwater up to those trees at some point. Yeah, see, no blockage at all, nothing. They removed these sections of pipe. But downstream, backing up through this pipe, that's where the beaver dam is. Maybe they're active, maybe they're not. All right, put the window up. It's windy right here in these open areas, so the mosquitoes aren't as bad. It looks like something like a moose maybe laid down there. The grass is all pushed over, like something big sat down. All righty, keep on going. It's drizzly out, so unfortunately we probably won't see a moose. Tomorrow's gonna be a sunny day. After a sunny day in the evening is when moose are usually pretty active. Their mating season, I think, is just about over, so they're not as active as they would have been in the spring, but that's the best chance. Maybe tomorrow night we'll go out looking for some moose. Every time I hit a bump, I hit the brake real fast because I don't want the trailer to get that abrupt. It'll throw things around inside it too much. So this will be our second night deep in the wilderness since the last time we were in town for fuel. Used about 1/3 of a tank, traveled about 600 miles. We have a lot more gas cans and stuff we can slowly start filling in. Here we're gonna get a little bit of a cleaning on the windshield. Grass is pretty tall right here. As I'm going down this road, just about every part of the drainage ditch, I see beaver dams, I see areas that were once flooded but are now drained. I see a bunch of areas that are also over capacity. This whole road has had beaver nightmares for a while. I can definitely see why there aren't more roads going through the wilderness far north. If you just look at the Google satellite maps of far north, it's just thousands of teeny little beaver ponds as far as the eye can see, bodies of water. It's all swamp. If you want to log that kind of forest, you have to do it in the winter with ice roads. And yes, there's ice roads all over the place. They're mud holes. You wouldn't make it very far at all, no matter what you're driving this time of year. You'd get stuck so easily on those roads. But a road like this, it's built up with a lot of fill going through the swamp surrounding it. But because there's so many beavers, there's literally beavers, thousands of kilometers of wilderness, and there's going to be constant beaver issues. You can trap them, relocate them, then another one's just going to show up one after another. There's just so many beavers in a place like this. It's a never-ending issue. That's why they don't build more roads like this going through the vast wilderness. They'll get destroyed by the beavers up north like this. But the ice roads, they can drive over all kinds of floods. Many beavers, and also being this far north, we're basically at the cutoff where they don't log much further. I just drove through a teeny little, I didn't notice it. I noticed it earlier, but I didn't notice it now. Not a big deal. There's a hole on the side of the road from like a groundhog or something. It's its burrow. Not a big deal though. Tires are big enough that it doesn't fall down into it much. Saw a couple muskrats today. I have a overnight camera waiting at a culvert pipe. We'll see if beavers will show up or not by morning. It looked very active. Their lodge was like 20 feet away from the clogged culvert, hoping for the best. Right there was a big pile of fresh debris. This road doesn't look very maintained, but someone came out here with an excavator at some point since the spring. That pile of debris there didn't have any vegetation growing on top of it. That was very recently pulled out of there. Despite how it looks, there's evidence on this road that maintenance has been done. There's also an area up here to drain big puddles. You can see where the blade of a grader was lightly put down to make a little trench. Now here's a really big flood. Once we drive through this flood is where we're going to be camping for the night. The road opens up really wide. There's a grassy area. We'll pull over and camp right there. Now here's a large flood we got to go through. Pretty deep one. I walked through it earlier. You always want to walk through this and make sure the road is actually still there. You have no idea how deep this is. Even when I was walking through that with bright yellow Crocs on, it was hard to see my feet down there because the water's so murky, just swampy. There's a lot of wood in it, very orangey, reddish water. So I walked through it. It's about to my knees, and it's safe to drive through it. I got enough clearance for it. But if it was a little bit higher, there's a chance it might come in the bottom of the doors, but we don't have much to worry about there. The trailer's pretty high up. We're gonna drive through it now. But yeah, you never want to trust the road like this unless you actually walk across it and inspect it. If there was rushing water here, probably wouldn't want to drive through it. But you always want to make sure the road is there. You also want to make sure there's gravel underneath here, because it might be just thick mud you'll get stuck in. But take it nice and slow when it's this deep. You don't want it to get up into something it shouldn't be in. Pretty deep. All right, here's a little break. Just gonna take a little pause. You can watch the waves. Look at that. Look at the waves go. Continue. Not super deep. It's almost up to the bottom of the doors, but not quite. And this looks like a good spot right here to spend the night. And that right there I don't think is beaver related. I think it's just sunk because it's swamp. The road just sunk. So this looks like a good spot to spend the night. Should we go over here on this side, or maybe on the other side? Looks like we can completely back the trailer in and be a little bit hidden. That's not a road, but yeah, that side's better. Back it up a bit. Slowly getting better with the trailer. It's not a big trailer. It's easier to back up a bigger trailer if you have more length from its wheels. But this one's so small, any little wrong move you make, it reacts faster. Is this too swampy to park on this side? We don't have to be this far over. It is a bit swampy, but I'm driving in. Mushy. I think it's okay. Yeah. I'm sitting in a little bit of mushiness, but it's alright. I can sleep here as long as the truck's pretty straight for sleeping. And I hope this little vlog was interesting, everyone. Time to get some sleep. Thanks for watching and have a great night.